This is our last Christmas cookie video, so soak it up while you can. This one's actually the most Christmassy cookie that I've made so far. We're doing gingerbread bars. I'm not doing like gingerbread cookies like the gingerbread man or anything like that, because we already did frosted sugar cookies, which are the ones that my family always did during Christmas with the cookie cutters. I didn't feel like doing two different rolled cookies. We're gonna do the bars instead. I found a recipe online that sounds really, really good, so we're gonna go with that. The recipe doesn't say to do the first step that I'm gonna do, but I feel like I should. I feel like it just left it out. That is to sift the dry ingredients together. Later on it says add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, but like I haven't mixed the dry ingredients together yet, so we're gonna do that. I did preheat my oven to 350 and that's warming up now. This is 2 cups of flour and I'm pouring it into the little mesh sieve over a bowl. Half a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon each of allspice and nutmeg. I mix those two together in there. Allspice doesn't just mean all your spices in your cabinet. It means an actual thing, like go to the store and find allspice. I did not know what it was like a year ago, and then I bought it and haven't used it, so I feel like gingerbread cookies are the only thing that calls for allspice. 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 1 teaspoon each of cinnamon and ground ginger. I feel like it's not that much cinnamon or ginger. I make these ginger molasses cookies all the time. I make them all year round, so I didn't feature them in my Christmas cookie videos. I usually like double or triple the ginger and the cinnamon in those because they're just so good. Actually, those ones have cloves in them too, and the cloves are what really hits ya. All right, those are sifted and well mixed. My oven is preheated and it's on convection setting, so if you hear a little fan running, it's that. And now we're gonna mix up our wet ingredients. The first thing we need is 1 stick of butter, half a cup of sugar, regular white sugar, 1.5 cups of brown sugar. I'm using just regular light brown sugar. And then make sure that you pack it in the measuring cup when you measure it, because that's how you always measure brown sugar. I don't know if you know, but then it says a half a teaspoon of vanilla, but I'm just gonna pour it until I think that it's enough. A 1/3 cup of molasses, which is one of my guilty pleasures. I tried greasing my measuring cup for the molasses because they say that that works for molasses and honey. It doesn't. And I'm just gonna mix until those are well combined and creamy. And now I need to add in 1 egg. I got a shell in it. The whole shell. And then after we add the egg, it says just to stir it until combined. And now it's time to add in the dry ingredients. So I'm gonna grab my little shoe because I feel like it works a little bit. It does still make a mess, but it's not as big of a mess as it could be. It smells like heaven in here. I did use my paddle attachment with the scraper on it, but I feel like this dough is really, really thick, so it probably didn't get too close to the sides. So I'm gonna just scrape it down and then give it a swirl. All right, what's next? It does say that it's gonna be thick like cookie dough. It is. I don't know if you can tell. And then it says to, oh, I forgot to say, I already did this step before you got here, but take a 9x13 baking dish, and it just says to grease it, but I greased it, laid down parchment paper so the parchment paper would stick to the pan, and then I greased on top of that so the cookie dough wouldn't stick to the parchment paper. A lot of steps, probably not necessary, but I feel like it'd be easier to lift it out. I don't want to really cut in my pan, so I'm going to lift it out onto a cutting board and cut it. So now we need to spread the dough with a silicone spatula. It specifies, doesn't specify to sift your dry ingredients, but it specifies what type of spatula to use. Also known as a rubber scraper, because this is what I will call a silicone spatula. Silicone flipper spatula. So we're just gonna dump all this dough in there and spread it out until it's one layer. By the way, if you don't know, a 9x13 baking dish is a casserole dish. I was gonna do it on a baking sheet, but I felt like it was a little larger, and so that would make them like really thin, and I didn't want to have thin bars. I wanted to have like a cookie bar. Even this I feel like is gonna be fairly thin. This is hard. I feel like the parchment paper is making it more difficult, and I'm really trying to smooth out the top. I don't know why, the recipe doesn't say to do that, but I am the way I am and I like things the way that I like them. My arm is sore. Alright, I feel like that's pretty even. Trying not to have too much go up on the edges because I know that'll get crispy. Now it says to put it in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. I'm nervous because like cookies, I usually do the low end because I like them soft and chewy, but it's a bar, so I don't know which way I should go. I'm gonna set it for 15 and I'm gonna look at them, and I'm probably just gonna take them out at 15, but we're gonna look just to see. Maybe they look like super wet and weird, and we might leave them in a little longer. But 15 minutes is where we're starting. So they're really puffy. It's like a cake. I don't really know how to know if it's done. I think I'm gonna leave it because if they're a little soft, that's fine. So the recipe says to cool it completely to room temperature before you frost it, because obviously the frosting will melt and it will be gross. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna let it cool and then we will get to frosting it. I'm excited. Alright, so what I didn't show you is that I took it out of the oven and I let it cool, and it still looked pretty raw, like raw cookie dough. So I popped it back in there for the extra 5 minutes, and I feel like it looks fine now. It did rise, and then when it cooled, it sank a little bit, so there's a little bit of a raised edge, which is fine. So now I'm going to frost it. Greg made my cinnamon roll recipe last week, so I have some frosting left over from that. So if you don't have this recipe, I will try to post it in the description below, but it's also in that video, so I'll share that video in the description as well, so that you have the recipe for the frosting. It is a cream cheese frosting. I don't know if I did the same one as my cinnamon roll recipe or not, but this one I put 1 package of cream cheese, 1 package of mascarpone cheese, 1 stick of butter, and I think it was 2 cups of powdered sugar. I don't remember. And then a little bit of vanilla. Really super easy. Just mix it all in your mixer. I'm just gonna spread this on my bars. The recipe does say that the frosting part is optional, so you don't have to put frosting on them if you don't want to. If you prefer just a plain gingerbread, you can do them like that. But I love frosting. I love cream cheese frosting, to be specific. I'm just gonna use all of this because I don't think I have anything else to use it for. Might as well use it all up. It's gonna be a lot of icing, but that's fine. All right, and then the last thing that we can do is top it with some sprinkles. I don't have red and green, but I do have red, so we're gonna just do some red. You can do literally whatever you want. You could do red and green, you can do blue, you could do red, green, and yellow, you could do silver. Be creative. And then the sprinkles that I'm using are the little jimmies. They're not like the sugar crystal ones. They're not the nonpareils, which are the little teeny balls. They're the like long skinny ones. And that is that. So I am gonna cut them on a cutting board. So let's see if they come out of here nicely. I'm gonna use the biggest knife that I have because maybe I can make it all the way across. I don't really know how big to make them. I'm just gonna make them like 3 inches and then maybe make them skinnier going that way. I don't know. I forgot the little handle of the cutting board is right there, so I don't know if I'll get all the way through that one. All right, and then I'm gonna put them back in the pan because my pan came with a lid and I can easily store that in the refrigerator. And that is it. Those are my gingerbread bars. Don't they look so cute? I think they're gorgeous. Well, I have had so much fun making cookies with you all month long. It's been great. And I hope that you try some of my recipes because they are all really, really good. I can't wait for Greg to try these because he likes my molasses ginger cookies. Not as much as I like them, but he likes them. And he loves cream cheese frosting, so I think these ones are gonna be his go-to. And I don't know if you know, this is the last video you're gonna see of me with long hair because I'm chopping it today. I don't know if, I think I mentioned this before, but I had an undercut for like the past 2 or 3 years. I think it's been 3. I finally decided to grow it out because, I don't know, I was looking at myself on these videos and I feel like it looked not so cute. So I grew it out. It's like 1.5 inches long now, so it's time. I have to wear my hair up at work and I feel like it looks really weird with this long hair in the back, long short hair. So I'm just gonna cut it all really short and let it all grow out together. So I'm going to chop it and rock the short hairdo for a little bit. I'm really excited for it because it's been a while, obviously, since I've had short hair. I am planning on donating my hair again. If you haven't watched my video of me cutting my own hair in my bathroom, you should watch that. I'll link it below as well because that one's a good one. I will see you guys next week, and I just want to say thank you for everyone who likes and shares my videos. I really appreciate that. It really helps me out a lot. And if you follow me or are subscribed, thank you so much. I just want to say that. So I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye. stick to it. I have a hair on me, it's grossing me out.